We salute you, my brother. Long live the spirit of Albert Ojwang. Long live. Long live the fucking spirit of Albert Ojwang. Long live. Down with police killings, down. Down with police killings, down. For justice, for.
Albert, we did the postmortem. We have 5 pathologists. We all agreed on the outcome of that postmortem. We checked all over his body. We checked his skin. It was quite okay, but there were a lot of injuries. When we went deep with the skin, there were a lot of injuries in the skin. Actually, the skin, the injuries were almost everywhere in the body. There were injuries in the neck, there were injuries in the back. In fact, the injuries were the back were very bad because when we examined inside, we found that actually the injuries were very serious and very deep and inflicted with a lot of force because there was bleeding inside the skin, which we could not see. And then that thing is that actually Albert had no disease at all because we checked each and every organ. He had no disease at all. And then when we checked where we found a lot of his injuries, they were around the head. The whole head was full of blood. The whole head. On top of the head, we normally call it scalp, it was full of blood. And then when we checked inside, that blood went inside his brain. So the cause of death of Albert is because of head injury caused by blunt trauma, and he had signs of neck compression, apart from the multiple injuries which were all over the body. So I think from there, I think very important is that I will be able to write a report which will be very detailed for the lawyer. As the most important thing for us pathologists, we write the report to the lawyer. Of course, there's a report for the police which will be, we will sign all of us. That is a report which is for the police, and the police will be able to use it later in prosecution. But us, as a pathologist, have a commitment to write a report to the family through the lawyers, so that they can be able to interrogate the report and they will be able to present it in court. When I'm supposed to come to court, I'll come there and give the evidence still using the same report, which I'll be able to give to the lawyers of the family. This report, it will not take a long time, but I need to each and every aspect which we found, it will be documented and in details. Now, we have already taken some specimens for toxicology. They are not that very important, but we need to check if there's anything which happened to Albert. But we know the cause of death is actually the injuries which were there. But we want to check, was there anything else which was given, because it's always very important. Thank you very much.
Once upon a time, President William Ruto came to the media and he said that he's a Pan-Africanism. Okay, he might not have said he's a Pan-Africanism, but according to the words he was speaking, according to the speech he was speaking, we looked at him and we thought, this guy has come to change Africa, not only Kenya, because he spoke like the people, the person who wants to change the continent. He spoke for the continent. He never spoke for Africa. And we gave him credits of the whole continent, not only a Kenyan as a country, okay? And a lot of people believed in him. I have a video of even Julius Malema saying when he heard President William Ruto speaking in that manner, he thought someone has come to change this continent. Listen to this.
I don't know if President William Ruto means it, because he said so many things and I can't locate him these days, because the things he said during election and the things he's doing now are two different things. I don't know, because I heard him saying we need to do away with the dollar and build our own currency. But his actions are not speaking to anything of doing away with the dollar. The latest being putting a red carpet for a murderer, a person who killed the Kenyan people coming into this country receiving a red carpet and being saluted by our own army. This is not a Kenyan army, it's not a colonialist army. The Kenyan army is a product of the Mau Mau rebellion, and those who killed our people in the Mau Mau rebellion cannot be saluted by the same army of the children of those who were killed during Mau Mau rebellion.
Right. You had that. But why do you think this president, why do you think Julius Malema had to speak in that manner? It's because President William Ruto spoke something that is very significant and people liked him. Listen to him.
There is an African proverb that says, until the lion learned to write a story, all stories glorified the hunter. There was a time Africa was profiled as the continent of conflict, disease, poverty, and war. I want to tell you that we have a new definition of Africa. It is the continent of opportunity, great potential, and a great future. Yes. Yes. It is for this reason that today we have the first ever Italy-Africa Summit, because it is now clear to all that Africa is not what it has always been profiled to be. By the year 2050, a quarter of the world's population will be living in the African continent by the year 2050. And therefore, any business person, including Kemal, if you're looking as a business person, you must think about the market. The market will be in Africa shortly. We are having a new conversation about our continent. We are very proud of what the continent can achieve and what the continent has to share with the rest of the globe. We are very confident that the resources we have in our continent, if they were complemented by the technologies that we have in this part of the world and the financing that we can all put it together, we can forge a win-win outcome for Europe and Africa, and for Africa and the globe. In fact, I can tell you today 4 aspects of Africa, what Africa is. Number 1, Africa has the largest renewable energy assets in the world. Number 2, Africa has 2/3 of the world's arable land for agricultural production. Number 3, Africa has the youngest population, 70% below the age of 30. And number 4, Africa has the world's critical minerals that are necessary for energy transition. So if you are looking at the future and you're not looking in the direction of Africa, then I want to tell you, you are looking in the wrong place. Yes. The future is in Africa.
All right, welcome back. I'm talking about the country that is believed to be a democratic country. That is the country that I'm talking about. A country that is believed to be a democratic country. Yeah? When you talk about democracy, what comes into your mind? As a Pan-Africanism, or as someone who has lived, who has had an opportunity of living in Africa, when we talk about democracy, what comes into your mind? We've talked about this not once, not twice, but several times. And we've come to an agreement that democracy is not an African narrative. democracy is something that was brought to an African individual by the West, by the Europeans. The Western countries came together and they said, I think we need to introduce democracy in Africa. And then they introduced democracy. They introduced democracy in Africa. But this democracy that they introduced in Africa, it is something that has been eating Africans for the last 60 years. Africans have been eaten. Africans have been destroyed by the so-called democracy. Yeah? And we find it difficult to understand. Was democracy meant to help an African individual, or was it meant, yeah, to lift a European or help a European? To some point, Capt.Ibrahim Traore has spoken about democracy. And he said, it is very difficult, like it is very bad for a country to speak itself as a democratic country, yet people are being killed in the same country, yet people are being destroyed in the same country. People cannot have freedom. People are not independent. People cannot make their own choice. People cannot express themselves out. If they try to do so, they are taken out by the same government that is said to be a democratic government. I'm talking about the government and the regime of President William Ruto of Kenya. President William Ruto of Kenya has come out to be one of the presidents who have been puppets to the West, and many people know that. He calls himself a democratic president, leading a democratic government, a government that understands democracy, a government that follows the rule of democracy. But do you think democracy was brought to Africa to help Africans or kill Africans? I want you to listen to Capt.Ibrahim Traore talking against democracy. And he said he cannot approve democracy because the democracy that is in Africa right now, the purported democracy that were given in Africa, it is something that came to frustrate, discriminate, manipulate, and intimidate a black person. Take a look at this video.
How can anyone want to impose democracy by killing millions of people? That's dictatorship, not democracy. You can't force it on people. Those who call themselves Democrats, just look. We've seen scenes where people were prevented from entering assemblies. We've seen scenes where forces stormed assemblies to force deputies to pass certain laws. We've seen even more terrible scenes where people kill their own protesters. But they call themselves Democrats, and we are labeled as coup plotters. If that's what democracy is, I repeat, we do not want that kind of democracy. And when you often see the incompetent, they don't even try to understand what the word democracy actually means. They just cling to the definition given by imperialism and start talking about democracy, without really knowing its foundation. That is incompetence. We must seek to understand, to gain knowledge, to look at the world in order to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa.
Some of you are asking themselves a lot of questions. And maybe you're asking yourself, why am I talking like this? Why am I speaking like this? But I have a heavy heart this moment as I'm speaking right now, because what I see happening in Africa, it is something that is not supposed to be happening in a continent where we are supposed to be living at peace, where we are supposed to be living well. Okay? And right now, as we are speaking, we are having puppets in this country. We are having leaders in this country who do not have the interests of a black person at heart. They have their own interests at heart. And all this has been brought by something. All this has been brought by the white supremacy that has been reigning in Africa for all this time. In Kenya, you cannot criticize the government. If you try to criticize the government, you are taken down. If the government is doing what is not right, if the government is doing wrong, and you are found criticizing the government, you are likely to be taken down. Today in Kenya, we are mourning a death of a young man who is called Ojwang. This man was killed by the Kenyan government, a government that is said to be a democratic government. He was taken out by this government simply because he said the truth on Twitter about Kenyan government. Simply because he said that the police force of Kenya is given a lot of money and this money is not known where it's going. Simply because he tweeted about the Kenyan government. He exposed some truth about the Kenyan government. Young man was taken out by the police, and in 36 hours time, this man had died. Take a look at this video.
We salute you, my brother. Long live the killings in Kenya. Long live. Long live the fucking speech of President. Long live. Long live. Down with police killings, down. Down. Down with police killings, down. Down. For justice for.
One of our brother in Kenya lost their life in a very unfortunate manner. And it is even more unfortunate, I heard the father speaking, that was the only child they had. I mean, what does it benefit you as a leader when you see those kind of tears? What do you gain by doing such kind of an animalistic thing to a fellow Kenyan? Every Kenyan, myself, the other Kenyan ni yetu sisi wote. When I talk about Kenya, I'm not talking about anyone. I'm talking about our country. When a young Kenyan talks about a certain office held by an individual, they are talking about it because you are the one holding the office. If you have a thin skin, you can't take that. You exit.
It is high time Kenyans realize we are no longer living in democracy, we are living in dictatorship. Just the other day, Rose Njeri, a software developer, was arrested and charged in a court of law. What is the crime, you may ask? For creating a link that will aid people to air their opinions about the 2025 finance bill. Yesterday, the father of an ex-user, Albert Ojwang, was told to start preparing for the funeral of his son. And true to the officer's words, the son turned up dead. The police service released a statement saying that, he banged his head in the cells too hard until he died. Today morning, people of the political class are waking up to tell us, be mindful of how you use social media. You might miss out on visas to the US. We do not want to go to the US. We want to fix our home. Kenya must work for us. The aim is to go there for vacation but live here because this is home. Be careful of what you post on social media because you might actually miss out on a job. Bruh. This mind-blowing threats and reverse psychology might have worked back in the day, not today. But all in all, it's high time as Kenyans we recognize that we're no longer living in a democracy, we are living in active dictatorship.
To you who's watching, your silence makes you complicit. We all know the killing of Albert was not only an accident or a tragedy, but an act of injustice. This is our turn to speak, not for political gain, but for justice. Losing a brother, son, friend, or even citizen in that brutal manner is unfortunate. You cannot even fathom what his family is going through. At this point, imekuwa too much. Too many young Kenyans have died at the hands of those who swore by the book to protect them. Hiyo ni kusema nini? The Constitution guarantees the right to life, dignity, and due process. Albert was a Kenyan citizen, but he was denied every single one of them. No position of power can justify murder. You can only see that happening in a failed state. Tukiacha history slide, ni kama kujipiga kibari kwa face, because as long as you're Kenyan, hata uende wapi, no amount of money can escape bad governance. I'm certain Albert will not rest till he gets the justice he deserves.
Albert Ojwang comes from Kokwanyo Kakelo Ward in Kabondo Kasipul in Homa Bay County. People are shedding tears here. I am mourning someone from my county, someone from the county I represent. Mr. Speaker, I have buried too many young people following the Gen Z protests just 1 year ago. Mr. Speaker, I buried close to 7 young people who were killed. Some of them were discovered in quarries, extrajudicial killings, and enforced disappearances. Mr. Speaker, in the post-election violence, I buried close to 10 young people, again extrajudicial killings. Mr. Speaker, during the protest when Raila came back from the United States, I buried almost 10 people who were killed by the police. We have felt the pain. We have shed tears, Mr. Speaker. These must be brought to a close. The problem I have with Parliament today is that we are mourning like we have no hope. We are speaking here like bloggers are speaking out there. Parliament is the one that vetted the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker. And as a result, the Inspector General of Police is answerable, is accountable to this House. Mr. Speaker, tomorrow, the Inspector General of Police should be here, must be here. This gentleman did not die. This gentleman was killed, Mr. Speaker. If you look at the definition of to be killed and to die, this gentleman was killed, murdered by the police, who are supposed to be the custodians and the safeguards of law and order in this country. Mr. Speaker, on 25th of June, we'll be marking the first anniversary of the Gen Z protest. I want to challenge Senator Cheriot and Senator Minority Leader. You brought a motion to this House last year in June. We said a lot of things. We said a lot of English. Let us mark the anniversary of 25th June in this Parliament. Because the other House, everyone ran away. We were the only ones who were here. Let us come back here, take stock of the things we said. We talked of extrajudicial killings. We talked of enforced disappearances. We talked of corruption. We talked of tribalism. What have we done about it? Mr. Speaker, this is a shameful act. And I send my condolences to the people of Kabondo, the people of Homa Bay, the entire nation. The Minister for Interior, under these circumstances, should have resigned, Mr. Speaker. In an organized society, the Inspector General, let us have them here in this Parliament tomorrow. Anything short of that, we will not be any better than any other member of the public who's complaining outside there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I got it top. Happy New Week, Happy New Week. However, it's not a very happy new week, okay? So, there's a story that has been there from yesterday, and it is a very, it's a very sad story. You look at it, and I'm looking at it from an angle of a parent. Man, Albert Ojwang. So this gentleman gets picked up in front of his parents by DCI officers. They say he published something on Twitter, that's X, and he's go to the police station. The dad is told, follow us to the police station. Within 24 hours, the guy is dead. So story is, he was being transported to Nairobi. Why? Nobody knows. Then, comes to the police station and dies. And the police are saying, he killed himself. Why? How he hit his head on the walls in the cell. Okay. Police, even if Kenyans are that stupid, see, we just try and think of like a smart excuse. Let's look for something smart. Why would he kill himself? What was the motive? Why would he commit suicide in a cell? Why? Oh, you guys didn't know there was a phone call that he had with his friend? We're doing badly as a country. You know, the rate at which people are being murdered in this country is very alarming. And it should be very worrying. If it's not worrying you, then where's binadamu? And I said this thing on the interview the other weekend when I was doing my show. Right now, all of us, we are one phone call away to losing our lives. One person will just say, we Obina maze. Now, Obina committed suicide because he did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And then all the other Kenyans were just watching. But there's a story that's normally said, when they came for my neighbor, I did not talk because it wasn't me. Okay? They came for the other neighbor, it goes something like that. I did not talk because it wasn't me. But when they came for me, nobody would talk because all the neighbors were gone. Now that's the way it's happening. So we keeping quiet and they keep getting away with murder. Next up is going to be your son, it's going to be your child, it's going to be your brother, your husband, your sister, your mother, anybody that they decide to kill. Okay? And for the people who are doing this, the people who are being used. Malipo ni hapa duniani. Nakwambia, when shit will hit the fan, they will throw you under the bus. Higher. You've seen the IG has instructed, what is that? What's the word of that thing that that amefanya? Is it investigation? Yeah, about the police station that the guy died at. Tayari watu wameanza ku. But you know who knows the truth? The police who got him from his home, where they took him, how they transported him to Nairobi, the police who booked him in, and the one who was over there in the cell with him and all this time. So you see all those three people, or four, they need to be held accountable. But it's a matter of time. It's gonna get there. Yes, pole pole too. Inaanzanga tu hivi. You guys are just causing a revolution and you have no idea. It's boiling. It's bubbling under. One day, very soon, sooner than later. Yep, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
What justice is there for Albert who can no longer breathe? No one asked me to come here this morning. I came under my own will because Albert cannot stand this day to testify in court. If Albert did a mistake, let him testify in court. That's why we have court. Okay. Let him testify in court. But what happened between here and Homa Bay, only Albert can tell us. And unfortunately, as I've said, dead bodies tell no tales.
I have frequently been on public saying that we need to stop killing our children, that we must accept that we are the ones as adults in the house who've been messing up in this republic. Mr. Speaker, I have listened to all of us discuss in this house, and I hear everybody saying, no, let us make sure that this guy is arrested and all. What was Ojwang discussing that made this man kill him? It's corruption. The reason this young man was killed, he said the police service receives close to 56 billion shillings every year. This is the story. This is the big thing in this house. But we are talking about, oh, Ojwang is killed, we need to arrest. This country of ours has to be fixed. And you are the people to fix it. And you are refusing to fix it. Because we are part and parcel of the mess of our country. And when we are discussing this thing, you politicize them. You say, oh, it's broad-based. Oh, it is all about those people are the ones who are on the other side. When this thing collapses, all of you will be in the same boat, I tell you. You will hang separately. Because you are the people betraying this republic. The police officers are a consequence of our failure. That is the reality. We have refused to accept that we can fix this country, that we can work together, that we don't have to be tribal, that we can actually act as adults. But we behave like children when everybody outside is crying, saying, where are the adults in the house? I beg you people, let us sit and fix our country. What you see happening to Ojwang is a consequence of a failed system. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That is the status in Kenya right now. That is what is happening in Kenya right now. I played this video of this young man who has been killed by the Kenyan government because I want to talk about something very significant right now. Yeah? I want to talk about something very significant, something very crucial right now. That is why I played those videos for you. The youths in Kenya are very angry because of what has just happened. The senators in Kenya are very angry because of what just happened. And I'm not talking about all the senators. I'm talking about a few senators who we know they've been fighting for the people of this country, for the people of Kenya for quite some time. Some of them are hypocrites, we know them. I'll play you a video of one of them that I know, one who spoke earlier some day back and said he does not support the ruling of Capt.Ibrahim Traore. And we know it's a time like this that they want to talk just to hide what the government has been able to do. Yeah? But The truth remains. When the government is incompetent, we must talk about it. When the government is not doing what is right, we must talk about it. We are praising so much the so-called democracy. This democracy that we are focusing so much on is something that was brought to us by the Europe, by the West. We never knew about democracy a long time ago. We were told for us to be able to have democracy, we must have many parties and all that. We were told democracy is going to the ballot and voting for the people of our own. We were told democracy is going to bring peace amongst ourselves and all that. We were told democracy is something that is good. And we focus so much on democracy, we are manipulating our people using democracy that was brought to us by the Western governments. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the Western government can bring to you something that is going to benefit you as a black person? Yet they want to continue exploiting from you. Yet they do not want you to develop. They don't want you to grow. Do you think they can bring to you something that is positive, that is going to help you positively, and so that you can be able to, your eyes would be able to open? Westerners, the Europeans, they would always want you as a black person to remain at the same point forever. They would never want you to move. If democracy is good and if democracy is nice, why won't they apply democracy in their country so that the people in their country would not be demonstrating right now? If you go to the United States of America, you'll realize people demonstrate every other day because of the incompetency of the government. If USA is good, and if there is peace in USA, why are people demonstrating every day? Why are people protesting every day? Because of the incompetency of the government. And if they are not protesting, why is Africa suffering by the use of democracy? They brought democracy in Africa so that democracy can be able to help Africa. Why is it that that democracy is not helping them? If the democracy cannot help themselves, how can they help Africa? Charity begins at home, as I say every day. For you to make another person's home or another man's home, you need to start by making your home first. So, for your information, there is nothing good that can be able to come from the West. But our leaders have been manipulated every other time. When we think we are the ones who are electing our leaders in Africa, we find out that we are not the ones who are electing our leaders in Africa. Trust you me. If you get it, you get it. They choose who the leader they want him to rule. During the time of campaigns, they are looking at the leaders who can work with them, who can be able to execute their agendas very well in Africa, who is easy to manipulate, who can they work with, who looks like a corrupt president, who looks like a greedy leader. Those are the leaders they put in power. The leaders who have principles, who have stance, who can stand by their people, they don't want those kind of leaders. They are blindfolding us, making us think we are choosing leaders by ourselves. But at the end of the day, they are choosing leaders for us. They've infiltrated our systems of government. They are into our governments. They decide who will be the leader to lead us. They know already. They are forming our governments. They pretend to have given us freedom. They pretend to have given us independence. But it's the purported independence. Independence in quotes. Freedom in quotes. They tell us we have democracy. Democracy is in Africa, does this democracy that is in Africa helping a black person? Does it helping an African? President William Ruto is claiming to have a government that is a democratic government, to have a government that respects people. They say democratic government respects people. Do we respect people by taking their lives? Do we respect people by killing them, by unaliving them? And Africa as a continent has been destroyed by Europe for many years. We've never had peace. We've never had freedom. Look at what is happening in Congo. People die every other day. There is war every other day. And do you know where these wars are coming from? It is the Europe countries that are creating these wars. Then they put themselves as the saviors. When we are going out in search of saviors, we can only see them. We find ourselves with no choice than just to trust them and enter into their trap. And at the end of the day, they come to Africa in the name of their bringing help to Africa. And at the end of the day, they keep exploiting us every other day. They are only seeking for a route to stay in Africa and continue exploiting from Africa and continue stealing from Africa. That is what they want. That is what they do. What do you think about it? Do you think democracy is what we needed? Do you think democracy is what we've ever wanted? Many diseases in Africa, they've been caused by the West. They create diseases in their laboratories. They want to test it from Africa because a black person looks like nothing to them. A black person looks like a nobody to them. They want to use it. They want to do some testing from Africa. Because Africa looks like a compost pit where every sort of bad thing is brought in Africa. If democracy would be a good thing, if democracy would be a good narrative that is helping, then the US will not be going through the same thing that the things and the problems that it's also going through right now. Because if you can be able to provide a help to a neighbor, it means you yourself, you are okay and you are stable and you are safe. I used to think in America, people are very well and everybody is rich. Until I came to realize we also have street kids in the United States of America. We also have people who are very poor, they're sleeping hungry. We have parents who cannot afford to take their children to school. We have people who are homeless. We have youths who are jobless. We have children who are sleeping outside. We have places that are looking like slums in the United States of America and many other Europe countries. The narrative is the same. The picture, the image is the same. But I thought a democratic country should be a country where people are living safe. There are injustices in the United States of America, but it's a democratic country. They are police brutality. I've seen them in one way or the other. And it's happening mostly towards black people. But it's a country that is a democratic country and is even having the powers to come and help an African country. Charity begins at home. Before you see a stick in your brother's eye, make sure your eye also is clean. And therefore, the African continent has been destroyed. We cannot move. We can't do anything by ourselves. We are listening to what we are being asked to do. We are following the rules, the orders from the West. And that is why we get to a point where we cannot help our people. African politicians who are greedy, who are puppets, who are corrupt, borrowing money from the World Bank and from the IMF every other time. We can't see where this money is going to. We can't trace this money. We can't trace, we can't see the roots of this, where this money is going to. We know the roots, but We don't see, we cannot be able to see the destination of this money, but we know it's ending up to the pockets of the greedy puppets and corrupt politicians who are working for the West. They are overtaxing common mwananchi, common citizens every other time. We do not have a problem of giving tax. We have a problem when we are giving tax and this tax does not work for the people of Africa, for the black people. A lot of African countries are going through this shit every other time. And that is when now an African existing generation, an African individual will come out and start speaking against the government, start exposing the failures of the government, the incompetency of the government. But when a youth talks about it, they are taken down. And that is what has happened to this young man called Ojwang. The man spoke about the government, against the government, the so-called democratic William Ruto's government, and what happened at the end of it? He was taken down because of just criticizing the government, because of saying the truth about the government, because of exposing the incompetency of the so-called democratic government, the democracy that was brought to us, something that did not belong to us. He was taken out. And the situation right now in Kenya, take a look.
Does it has a right to take life? Munaringa na uniform hamuna mshahara ya maana. Mnakatwa usilevi na mpewi. Mnasurvive na maloni. Acheni kutukula kichwa bwana, you will kill us. And we are ready. This is our country. We are not doing anyone favor. Kenya belongs to us. Tunaambiwa ati Ojwang ameuawa, muko kwa serikali, tuko kwa broad base. Broad base ya wizi. Sai Raila Amolo Odinga hajaongea. Ingekuwa hii kitu imehappen 3 years back. Sai ingekuwa milioni yabo wameita conference. And now someone has been killed. Sio were, so they don't talk. We will fight for ourselves.
That is the situation right now in Kenya. That has always been the situation in Africa. And the root cause of these kind of things, the root cause of this anger is the puppet leaders, the corrupt leaders, the greedy leaders who wants to keep on stealing from the black people, putting all the money for themselves, and don't care about the people of Africa, don't care about the black people. And this is what Ibrahim Traore says every day: a brother killing a brother, a sister killing a sister. Why do you want to take care of the people who are far away from you, forgetting the people who are living with you, people who chose you, people who placed you into power? Until when will young men will stop being killed in this country, in this continent? Until when will the government will start taking care of people, serving the people instead of taking their lives? The father to this young man cried. It's very bad when a man cries. And he was saying he wished he wouldn't have do everything that he was doing. He took this only son to school. He doesn't have any other child. He is the only one child. He has suffered. He has hustled to take this young man to school so that even one day this young man will help him. But just after the young man has graduated, the government has taken him down, simply because the young man tweeted on X exposing the incompetence of the government. In whose hands are we safe? Tell me what you think in the comment section. I'll do my best to make sure I read the comments and give a response where possible. This is the African Streamline. I am Atamba Hedi. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for always being here. Tell me what you think. If it's your first time to be here, don't forget to subscribe. For the returning subscribers, I salute you. God bless.